what I have to comment, Hari, to specifically answer your question is this. This notion of rainwater harvesting and this notion of local waters has been going on as a narrative for the last 27 years. I can remember 95, dying wisdom coming and making water everybody's business coming. So it's 25 years. So the question is, what have we learned about the government, about the state, about the institutions, and about local waters and rainwater harvesting itself? And how do we therefore change our strategy? We can't use the same strategy and expect things to change, right? 25 years, we have to do some learning. So we have to understand the complex picture, and rightly so, right? So what happens is, water is essentially political. And what we see with pipe water is that pipe water is hugely subsidized. You cannot raise the price of pipe water supply in our Indian cities. Those who have access to pipe water have no share or stake in increasing water supply through rainwater harvesting or wastewater recycling or groundwater recharge. Now that takes away a huge chunk of the well-to-do populace, right? So because the well-to-do are connected to the pipe network. Now, how do we push the well-to-do to think about local waters and rainwater harvesting becomes a challenge. It can only be done from an ecological perspective. But ecology doesn't bite when economy is not biting. So that's the conundrum we are stuck in, right? So it's actually the subsidy of pipe water supply, which is the biggest disincentive for all other alternate forms of water, including tank rejuvenation. So we got to crack it. As Vanitha Mohanji pointed out, the next big critical issue is actually wastewater. How do we make sure that polluter pays principle is applied, that we actually pay for the collection, conveyance, and treatment of wastewater, so that wastewater does not pollute our surface water bodies, B itself becomes a resource for reuse, right? That's something that we have to address. And so therefore, pricing of water and pricing of wastewater is crucial to get rainwater harvesting and lake rejuvenation done. That's crucial. Now, can we do it now? I don't see democracy allowing for the increase in price of water, right? So therefore, then we'll have to look at rainwater harvesting and local waters as only a supplement, and we'll have to be attuned to that reality. We can work a little bit on flood mitigation. We can work a little bit at rooftop rainwater harvesting, a little bit at groundwater recharge. And what we are learning now is actually we are seeing groundwater flooding. In Chennai and Bangalore, groundwater table has come up so high that basements are getting flooded. Foundations are being affected, right? So we have a surplus of groundwater. How do we persuade the state to use the shallow aquifer and groundwater, which is rainwater in another form, to supplement water to reduce the groundwater table, for it to be able to pick up water? This is now our biggest challenge, and work with the state and with citizens. Citizens themselves have given up on the shallow aquifer. So we shift from scarcity to abundance, and both are problematic. Scarcity is a problematic, abundance is a problematic, right? So both of these need to be tackled, and it can only be done through patience. We have to think like the state. We have to think like political parties, and we have to put ourselves in their shoes and see what will best appeal. The ideal, the best is the enemy of the good. So we'll have to push for what is good and appropriate and doable at citizen level, community level, and at state level. Just aim for those small wins and keep pushing the envelope. You know, this othering of people, that engineers don't know what they need to do, politicians are corrupt, that big ticket projects is what they look for. This kind of mindset itself does not lend itself to partnership and community action. We should respect people for whatever professions they do, whatever they are doing, right? We should not get on some kind of a moral pedestal saying that we are the best and others are bad. It's a mindset issue and it's a problem. For dialogue, we have to understand where other people are coming from, right? A city manager who is responsible for water cannot experiment, cannot afford to experiment, and therefore they seek reliability. I have to remind people that, for example, in Bangalore, the tanks were closed, the lakes were closed because of cholera, because of dengue, because of malaria. These tanks became vector spaces, people were using these tanks, and it caused a lot of deaths. Drought, 3 continuous years of drought killed 1 lakh people in Bangalore. 1 lakh people died. The tank could not support a population of 2 lakh people. So therefore, to seek reliability of water sources, they went far. Now to say and turn around and say engineers are idiots, they don't know what they're doing, going away, far away, and local water is the only solution. That is not a mindset that is helpful in pushing the solution space forward. So for change, let us begin with ourselves. Let us start to work with government. Let's start to work with engineers. Let's start to work with bureaucrats in a positive dialogue space. And that will take patience. It will take a lot of building, but that's the only way that we have. Otherwise, we will be talking our theoretical ideal for forever, and they will be doing their practical, whatever devilish thing forever, right? So these things will then continue endlessly. Right? So I wish that we begin more a dialogue, and therefore in these forums, bring the politician, bring the bureaucrat, bring the engineer, and let's have a dialogue, which is a civilized, decent dialogue, positing our concerns. Let's listen to them too, and then let's arrive at conclusions whereby we can move forward. That's my request to the group.